The invasion began like a storm tearing through the heavens. Alien ships descended from the skies, their hulls gleaming with an unnatural blue light that pulsed with an ominous rhythm. They were massive, dwarfing even the largest skyscrapers, and their arrival sent ripples of fear through humanity. When the first energy blast struck the ground, entire city blocks vanished in pillars of light, leaving nothing but scorched earth and debris in their wake. The aliens marched in formation, their armored figures sleek and intimidating. Their weapons were strange and elegant, rifles that emitted crackling arcs of energy, shields shimmering like mirages that distorted everything behind them. Earth's rifles and tanks seemed laughably primitive in comparison. Against their advanced energy barriers, human projectiles clattered harmlessly, as if the very air mocked humanity's attempts to resist. From within one of the alien command vessels, General Kada watched with an air of detached amusement. His leathery, reptilian skin glistened under the control room's eerie light. "Pathetic creatures," he muttered, the alien language carrying a hiss of contempt. His gaze lingered on the holographic display showing Earth's forces scrambling below. "They fight with sticks and stones, unaware they are already doomed." A subordinate, smaller and more skittish, stepped forward. "Shall we engage the next defensive line, General?" Kada waved a clawed hand dismissively. "Let them run. We'll crush them when they grow tired. These creatures are not warriors, they are vermin scurrying for cover." Far below, the humans were indeed retreating. Lines of soldiers trudged up into the rugged mountains, their faces grim and lined with exhaustion. They carried what little they could, rifles, mortars, and dwindling supplies. Smoke curled in the distance, where towns and villages had been razed. Behind them, the alien invaders advanced steadily, their formations tightening like a noose. The mountains stood like jagged sentinels, their peaks disappearing into swirling clouds. Here, the terrain was harsh and unforgiving, a stark contrast to the rolling plains the aliens had swept through with ease. Narrow trails twisted between cliffs and dense forests, the ground littered with rocks and treacherous loose gravel. The air grew thinner, colder, as the humans climbed higher. The alien war machines struggled in the unfamiliar environment. Their hovering craft sputtered on the uneven ground, their sensors disrupted by the dense foliage and rocky outcroppings. While the aliens marched with discipline, their sleek design betrayed an over-reliance on technology. The terrain was not their ally, it was Earth's. For the human soldiers, the retreat was bittersweet. They had been ordered to pull back, to regroup and hold the high ground, but every step felt like surrender. Yet, amidst the grim expressions, there was a flicker of something unspoken. Perhaps it was the knowledge that their backs were against the wall. Perhaps it was the unyielding defiance that came naturally to those with no choice but to fight. As the aliens captured one village after another, their mockery grew louder. Alien broadcasts, translated into crude human languages, declared Earth's resistance futile. In one intercepted transmission, an alien officer sneered, "Your primitive weapons are no more than toys. Lay them down, and we may spare your lives." But the humans did not lay down their weapons. They retreated strategically, setting up choke points, collapsing bridges, and planting mines to slow the enemy's advance. For every step the aliens took forward, they bled time and resources. The soldiers in the mountains knew they could not win head-on. They could only make the invaders pay dearly for every inch. From the safety of his high-tech command center, Kathar did not notice the subtle shift in the battle. He saw the retreats, the scattered resistance, and dismissed them as desperation. "These creatures are predictable," he remarked to his officers. "They scatter like leaves before a storm. Soon they will have nowhere left to run." But deep in the mountains, something different was brewing. Where Kathar saw hopelessness, others saw opportunity. And though the humans were battered and outgunned, the spark of resistance had not yet been extinguished. It only needed a kindling flame. The sniper lay motionless on the ridge, blending seamlessly with the rugged terrain. Every fold of their ghillie suit matched the surrounding rocks and sparse foliage. Through the scope, they tracked the alien patrol winding its way through the valley below. The alien soldiers moved with mechanical precision, their sleek armor glinting faintly in the dim sunlight. Their arrogance was palpable, a march of invincibility as they strode carelessly into the mountains. The sniper smiled faintly, a grim satisfaction blooming in their chest. This was the place where the tide would turn. The sniper was a veteran, seasoned by years of conflict on Earth's countless battlefields. They had no rank now, no regiment to follow. Those had been stripped away in the chaos of the invasion. What remained was their skill, their discipline, and a purpose honed sharper than the edge of any blade. The invasion had taken everything: friends, comrades, and most painfully, family. Memories of a laughing child and a warm embrace haunted their nights, replaced now with an unyielding resolve. Their rifle was old but cared for with meticulous devotion. A custom-built bolt-action sniper rifle, designed for extreme range and devastating precision. It wasn't flashy or cutting-edge, it didn't need to be. Its power lay in its simplicity, a stark contrast to the aliens' sophisticated weaponry. Every component was checked and rechecked, its barrel cleaned and polished, the ammunition hand-loaded with precision. The sniper thought of it not as a tool but as an extension of their will. The aliens didn't expect a fight here. They believed the humans broken, incapable of mounting anything beyond a desperate retreat. Through the sniper's scope, their ignorance was evident in the relaxed posture of the soldiers below. That arrogance would cost them. The sniper's breath slowed, their heartbeats steadying into a rhythm. One alien stood slightly apart from the group, gesturing toward the tree-line as if directing the others. The sniper adjusted their aim, exhaled, and squeezed the trigger. The crack of the shot echoed through the valley, sharp and sudden. The alien officer's head snapped back, their body crumpling to the ground in a lifeless heap. For a moment there was silence, the patrol frozen in confusion. Then chaos erupted. The remaining aliens scrambled for cover, shouting in their guttural language. Their energy shields shimmered to life, but it was too late for the fallen officer. The sniper didn't move, watching through the scope as the soldiers scanned their surroundings. Their shields were designed to deflect plasma bolts, not the kinetic force of a high-velocity round. A second shot rang out, striking another soldier through the chest. The alien's shield flared uselessly, unable to stop the solid projectile. The soldier fell, sparks flying from their suit as it failed to maintain power. Below, panic rippled through the squad. They were used to overwhelming force, their superior technology ensuring victory before a fight could even begin. But this was different. This was precise, calculated, and utterly beyond their control. The sniper observed without emotion, letting the aliens expend their energy firing blindly into the rocks and trees. Each movement was analyzed, patterns noted. They had their weaknesses, and the sniper would exploit every single one. The aliens finally regrouped, their leader barking commands. Drones launched into the air, scanning the terrain. The sniper watched them rise, noting their slow sweep and predictable patterns. The aliens were searching for a signature that didn't exist. They didn't understand that their opponent was not relying on advanced technology but on patience, training, and instinct. Satisfied, the sniper slid back from the ridge, moving silently through the rocks. The game had begun. The aliens had dismissed the first shots as luck, but that mistake would cost them dearly. In their mind, the sniper was not just fighting for survival. They were proving something far greater. Humanity might be outgunned, but they were never outmatched. Every shot they fired was a defiance of the aliens' perceived superiority. Every soldier they took down was a reminder that Earth was not conquered yet. As the aliens tightened their perimeter and prepared to retaliate, the sniper vanished into the shadows. The mountains were their home now, and the invaders were trespassers in their domain. The sniper's resolve hardened further. The battle was just beginning, and they had all the time in the world. The sniper moved like a shadow through the mountains, every step calculated, every sound muffled. The terrain became their weapon, a labyrinth designed to confuse and isolate the enemy. With a keen eye for detail and a mind trained in guerrilla warfare, they turned the invaders' arrogance against them. A narrow pass became a death trap. The sniper laid explosive charges along the rock face, waiting for the alien patrol to enter. As the squad advanced, their shields flared sporadically, struggling to counter the debris kicked up by the uneven terrain. When the aliens were perfectly positioned, the sniper detonated the charges. Tons of rock cascaded down, crushing soldiers beneath the weight. Those who survived stumbled into the open, vulnerable and disoriented. A single shot echoed, and another alien fell. The aliens adapted poorly. They relied on coordinated tactics and advanced equipment, but in the mountains, those advantages faltered. The sniper exploited their dependence on technology, using decoys and natural camouflage to mislead their sensors. A pile of rocks became a distraction, a discarded ration tin a lure. One by one, the aliens fell into carefully laid ambushes. Their energy weapons flared in frustration, their bursts of light harmless against an enemy they couldn't see. When the sniper fired, it was always deliberate. Officers were the first targets. Without their leadership, the alien squads became erratic, their movements uncoordinated. Fear crept into their ranks as the bodies of their comrades piled up. Their once unstoppable march slowed to a crawl. Every step forward felt like an invitation to death. The psychological toll was undeniable. Alien soldiers began shooting at shadows, their nerves stretched thin by the constant threat. Paranoia spread like a virus. They whispered in their guttural language, questioning their leaders, their mission, and even their own invincibility. The sniper watched it all unfold through their scope, silent and unrelenting. The aliens were unused to this type of warfare. They had crushed Earth's cities with overwhelming force, but here in the mountains, their superiority meant nothing. They were out of their element, and the sniper made sure they felt it with every step. The alien commanders, growing desperate, escalated their efforts. Squadrons of drones swept the area, scanning for heat signatures, movement, or even faint traces of breath. The sniper countered with clever misdirection. They used thermal blankets to hide their presence, and placed decoy heat sources to confuse the drones. Each time the aliens thought they had the sniper cornered, they found nothing but empty cliffs and abandoned traps. The drones became targets themselves. The sniper's shots were precise, striking the machines in weak points that caused them to crash in useless heaps. With every destroyed drone, the aliens' frustration grew. They tried deploying advanced trackers, machines that crawled across the rocks, sniffing for signs of life. The sniper led these trackers into dead ends, rigged with tripwires and explosives. When the devices failed to return, the alien commanders were forced to send their troops into the field again, exposing them to the sniper's ambushes. Despite their efforts, the sniper's success wasn't just in their kills. It was in the message their actions sent. Across the mountains and beyond, whispers of a lone fighter standing against the invaders began to spread. Civilians hiding in the ruins of towns heard the stories and found a spark of hope. Resistance fighters, scattered and desperate, saw in the sniper's actions a symbol of defiance. In hidden enclaves and underground shelters, people began organizing. They salvaged old weapons, improvised explosives, and prepared for battle. Inspired by the sniper's resilience, they became a movement. Resistance networks started coordinating attacks, disrupting alien supply lines and communication hubs. The sniper's work became the foundation of a new kind of war. Alien forces were stretched thin, their focus divided between quelling the growing resistance and hunting the elusive marksmen in the mountains. What had started as a tactical nuisance was now a full-blown campaign. For the aliens, the frustration was palpable. Their commanders snarled in anger as reports of ambushes and sabotage flooded in. Their soldiers moved with increasing hesitation, their morale eroding with each loss. The air of invincibility that had carried them through their invasion was gone, replaced by a gnawing uncertainty. Through it all, the sniper remained relentless. Every shot they fired was a message: Earth would not fall so easily. The alien invaders, with all their technology and arrogance, had underestimated humanity. They had overlooked its adaptability, its ingenuity, and above all, its unbreakable will to survive. The sniper knew they couldn't win the war alone. But in their heart, they believed in the ripple effect of their actions. Each alien officer they felled, each squad they dismantled, was another blow to the invaders' confidence. Their role wasn't just to fight, it was to remind the world that resistance was possible. As the aliens tightened their patrols and increased their efforts to root out their unseen enemy, the sniper pressed on. They were tireless, a specter in the mountains that the invaders could neither catch nor kill. Every passing day was another small victory, and every victory brought humanity one step closer to turning the tide. The alien ambush was sudden and brutal. The sniper had been moving through a narrow gorge when the ground trembled under a low-frequency pulse. Cloaked drones emerged from hidden alcoves in the cliffs, and shimmering energy barriers flared to life, sealing off escape routes. From above, alien troops rappelled down, their weapons trained on the sniper's position. For the first time, the sniper felt the cold weight of inevitability pressing down. They had underestimated the aliens' desperation to end this fight. They were cornered, outnumbered, and outgunned. Surrender was the logical choice. But surrender was never an option. The sniper inhaled deeply, steadying their hand as they reached for the detonator concealed in their vest. All along the gorge, small, nearly invisible charges were buried beneath the rocks. With a sharp exhale, the sniper triggered the explosives. The blast was deafening. The sheer force sent rock fragments and dirt cascading through the air. Alien soldiers were thrown from their positions, their energy shields flickering uselessly under the concussive wave. In the chaos, the sniper took their first shot, the rifle's report sharp and decisive. An officer dropped, their helmet shattering under the impact. The sniper moved swiftly, every second a calculated maneuver. They ducked behind an outcropping, reloading in practiced silence. The aliens regrouped, their training kicking in, but the sniper was already 2 steps ahead. A decoy, a crude mannequin rigged with a thermal emitter, drew fire from one side of the gorge. When the aliens realized their mistake, 2 more fell to precision shots. More drones swarmed into the fray, their sensors narrowing in on the sniper's exact location. The sniper fired at one, its metallic shell splitting in a shower of sparks, but there were too many to take down. They began to close in, forcing the sniper to retreat into a narrow crevice. Here, the sniper made their final stand. The rifle's muzzle flashed repeatedly, each shot a calculated blow to the encroaching alien forces. Yet for every enemy downed, more seemed to appear. The sniper's ammunition dwindled, and a sharp, searing pain in their side told them they had been hit. Blood seeped through their uniform, staining the rocky ground beneath them. Despite the injury, the sniper fought on, using every trick they had left. A fragmentation grenade flung into the center of an advancing squad bought them a moment's reprieve. Another hidden charge collapsed part of the gorge, cutting off reinforcements. But the sniper knew they were running out of time. As they fired their last round, the realization hit them with clarity. They couldn't escape. But they could still win. With trembling hands, the sniper activated their final communication device. They keyed in the frequency for the nearest human resistance outpost, their voice steady despite the pain. "This is Nomad," they said, using the call sign that had become legend among Earth's scattered defenders. "Coordinates locked. Enemy command unit is present. Requesting immediate artillery strike. Full payload." There was a pause on the other end, the weight of the request sinking in. "Acknowledged, Nomad," a voice replied. "Artillery incoming. 10 seconds." The sniper leaned back against the rocks, their breathing labored but steady. Around them, the remaining aliens regrouped, closing in for the kill. But they wouldn't get the chance. As the first whistle of incoming ordnance cut through the air, the sniper allowed themselves a small, grim smile. The fight was over, but the war had just begun. The artillery barrage was relentless. Explosions tore through the gorge, obliterating everything in their path. Alien soldiers and drones were consumed in fire and shrapnel. The command unit, a towering figure encased in reinforced armor, was struck directly, its energy shield shattering before it collapsed in a heap. When the dust settled, the gorge was unrecognizable, a smoking ruin of shattered stone and scorched earth. The sniper was gone, their body buried beneath the rubble. But their sacrifice had not been in vain. The alien forces, already strained by the sniper's campaign, were thrown into disarray. Without their command unit, their cohesion crumbled. Squads retreated in disorganized panic, abandoning equipment and leaving their dead behind. The snipers' actions reverberated far beyond the battlefield. Across Earth, news of their final stand spread like wildfire. In the hearts of humanity's defenders, despair gave way to resolve. Civilians and soldiers alike found new strength, their morale bolstered by the snipers' example. For the aliens, the loss was catastrophic. Their once unshakable confidence was shattered. Earth was no longer the easy conquest they had anticipated. As their forces retreated, the war shifted. Humanity began to rally, reclaiming lost ground with a ferocity born of hope. And though the sniper would never see it, their sacrifice marked the turning point. They had become a symbol of resistance, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity's spirit could not be extinguished. The mountains stood silent once more, the echoes of battle fading into the wind. But the memory of the lone sniper would live on, etched into the very stone as a testament to Earth's unyielding fight for freedom. The battlefield was quiet now, save for the occasional crackle of scorched debris and the mournful howl of the mountain wind. Alien forces had withdrawn in disarray, leaving behind the shattered remnants of their once imposing presence. Dead soldiers lay scattered among wrecked drones and twisted fragments of their advanced machinery. Their arrogance had led them to believe they were invincible, and here, in these rugged mountains, that belief had been dismantled piece by piece. News of the aliens' retreat spread rapidly, carried by whispers and hurried messengers to resistance groups across the planet. The sniper's final stand had done more than eliminate an enemy command unit. It had given humanity a rallying cry. In hidden bunkers and underground shelters, leaders emerged from the shadows, their voices steady with newfound conviction. People who had once cowered in fear now picked up weapons, fueled by the knowledge that the invaders could be defeated. The sniper became a legend almost overnight. Their story, passed from one survivor to another, transformed into a symbol of defiance. Songs and tales sprang up, recounting their courage and sacrifice. The mountains where they had made their stand were no longer seen as hostile terrain but as sacred ground, a place where the tide had begun to turn. In a solemn ceremony weeks after the battle, survivors and resistance fighters gathered in the very gorge where the sniper had fallen. The area was still scarred by the artillery strike, a raw and haunting reminder of the cost of resistance. There, among the jagged rocks and lingering traces of ash, they erected a simple memorial. A stone cairn stood at its center, surrounded by a ring of rifles planted in the ground. At its peak rested an engraved plaque. Asterisk. For the lone sniper, who turned despair into hope and lit the fire of freedom in the hearts of humanity. Asterisk. The memorial became a pilgrimage site for those who sought to honor the fallen and renew their resolve. Each visitor brought something to leave behind: an old helmet, a dog tag, a handwritten note. Over time, the pile grew, a testament to the collective gratitude of a people fighting to reclaim their home. In the shadows of their defeat, the aliens struggled to comprehend what had happened. A surviving commander, seated in the cold metallic confines of a ship's war room, reviewed endless reports of the mountain campaign. Their sharp, angular face was drawn tight with frustration. "What happened?" they demanded, their voice a low growl. "How did an entire unit fail against one primitive fighter?" The officers around them shifted uncomfortably, offering only fragmented answers. Advanced technology had failed. Superior numbers had meant nothing. The terrain, they muttered, was an unforeseen variable. But the commander knew better. This was not just about terrain. It was about a resilience they had underestimated, a willpower that defied logic. The commander stared at the holographic map of Earth, the red zones marking conquered territories now fractured by pockets of resistance. Their species had relied on dominance for centuries, but here, on this unassuming planet, they had encountered something new. A foe that would not yield, no matter the odds. The whispers of dissent in the alien ranks grew louder. Soldiers questioned their leadership, and murmurs of doubt spread through the fleet. For the first time, the invaders began to feel the weight of their overconfidence. Back on Earth, the sniper's legacy continued to ripple outward. Among the resistance fighters, their story became a source of inspiration and purpose. Their tactics were studied, their bravery recounted in moments of doubt. But for one young fighter, the sniper's story held a more personal significance. The young resistance member approached the memorial in the early dawn light, their footsteps slow and reverent. They knelt before the cairn, their gaze lingering on the plaque that bore the sniper's call sign, Nomad. Resting beside the memorial was the sniper's rifle, recovered from the rubble after the battle. It was battered but intact, a testament to its craftsmanship and the care it had received. The young fighter hesitated, their fingers hovering just above the weapon. Finally, with a deep breath, they lifted it, feeling the weight settle in their hands. It was more than a weapon, it was a symbol. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, a single act of defiance could ignite a movement. As they slung the rifle over their shoulder, their resolve solidified. The fight wasn't over, but they would carry the sniper's spirit forward. Far above, the alien fleet loomed, its shimmering hulls a stark reminder of the challenges yet to come. But on Earth, a fire burned brighter than ever before. Humanity, scarred but unbroken, stood ready to reclaim its world. The sniper's name would never be forgotten. Their sacrifice had not only bought humanity time, it had proven that the invaders could bleed, that they could falter. In their death, the sniper had ensured that the living would carry the fight forward. And so, as the first light of day broke over the mountains, humanity's defiance shone with it, unyielding and eternal.